We go now to Tal Heinrich, spokesperson for the Israeli government. Tal, good to see you again. Thanks for taking the time. Israel, as we know, is now in its second stage of its war against Hamas. Tell us what that entails and why one senior Israeli official says this may take months.
It may take months, indeed, Tracy. And we said that this stage 2 will come, an expanded ground operation in Gaza. And this is what we're doing. We are working towards the goal of dismantling the Hamas regime, their governance body, their military wing. And once we are done, the Hamas will be no longer, because as a nation, the state of Israel has decided that we can no longer live next to a terror enclave, and that they can no longer have the capabilities and the motivation to hurt us as they did on October 7th. Also, please keep in mind that while this is ongoing, Israeli cities and towns are being bombarded constantly with over 8,150 rockets in just 24 days. And that has been the situation, honestly, for 16 years now, but no more. We can no longer live next to this existential threat.
And Tal, today, the Israeli military said infantry, tanks, and armored units are attempting to move toward groups of armed Palestinian operatives inside of Gaza. Can you tell us how many Israeli troops are now there and how far are they?
So we cannot go into military operational activity and describe it on air. It will be very irresponsible on our behalf, or expand about military strategy moving ahead. Of course, it's a very complex operation for a few reasons. First, because we have the hostages there, as you know, nearly 240 hostages who are still being held captive by Hamas after 24 days. And we're calling on this terrorist regime to unconditionally and immediately release them. But also, what's making this operation very complex is that we want to hit Hamas very hard, but they have embedded themselves in a civilian population, in urban structures, for example, like hospitals. The IDF spokesperson just a few days ago released a very detailed presentation of the largest hospital in Gaza. It's called the Shifa Hospital, under which and in you can see bunkers and the command center of Hamas. And we have Hamas terrorists who we have caught and were arrested and interrogated here in Israel. And they, in fact, admit that this is where their command center is located. So they have bunkers underneath hospitals, underneath, youth centers and schools and in clinics and mosques and so on. And we obviously want to minimize civilian casualty, which is a tragedy of war, every war, even justified wars throughout history.
Yeah, I also understand the Israeli Ministry of Foreign Affairs said, unfortunately, a 23-year-old German-Israeli woman kidnapped by Hamas gunmen during the October 7 terror attacks has been found dead. What can you tell us about the status of the hostages? What more do you know?
So we know that the IDF has notified 239 Israeli families that they know for a fact that their loved ones have been abducted. We don't know anything about their condition, and we are demanding that the Red Cross will fulfill its purpose and go pay them a visit, get access to them, and examine their condition, because we don't know anything about the conditions in which they're being held. From the 4 hostages that they released so far, we know that these are horrendous conditions, and the only reason why they released them was because of mounting international pressure, and more pressure is coming, military pressure and diplomatic pressure, and we really, really hope that they will release them.
All right, Tal, we're going to leave it right there. Thank you so much for your time today. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Tracy.